You ever read an inspirational article and you say, that's it, this is the article, this is the day, now things are going to be different? Or sometimes you walk into Rosh Hashanah and you say, this year is going to be the year, this is going to be the ultimate year. And what happens sometimes is after a number of weeks, months, or the next year, you walk right back into synagogue and you're the same person with the same problems and challenges. The question is, how do you take that moment of inspiration, that article, that speech, that vision, and how do you harness it? How do you ride it? And how do you become someone greater? Well, if you've had your failings, if you've had your shortcomings, and quite frankly, you thought you were going to be here, you were inspired, and then it just kind of faded away, the good news is you're in very good company. In this week's Parsha, which is Parshas Beshalach, we have one of the most monumental miracles that happened in the history of the Jewish people, in the history of the world. That's none other than the splitting of the sea. And with the splitting of the sea, the people who were on the highest spiritual level to the lowest spiritual level had the most incredible crystal clear clarity of who they were, of what they can accomplish, of what their goal and value and direction would be in life. Asks Rabbi Shmuel Levitz, one of the great rabbis of the Mir Yeshiva, what happened to all these people? What happened to them in the end? Did they become great? Did they become the next Moses? And the answer is no. Why not? Answers Reb Chaim Shmuel Levitz, because just because you see something that's inspirational doesn't mean you're going to make the necessary change. Actually, it comes to mind someone who I know, he went through a very dangerous and particular surgery, a brain surgery, and he said, you know what, my life is going to be different from now on. It's going to be so different. I'm going to be so connected and so appreciative. And 30 days later, he found himself as the same old me. So the question is, what can we do to make a difference, to hold on to that inspiration? The reality is, we know that Thomas Edison, one of the great inventors and thinkers in the 20th century, he said that, well, genius is 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. You got to work hard. And the reality is that's how it is here as well. What we have to do is not enough to experience something that's motivating. You have to take it and harness it and work with it. And I think the fact of the matter is, we look in last week's Parsha, what we found, the Jewish people were going through the most incredible spectator sport. After having witnessed blood, frogs, lice, etc., they saw the incredible plagues. God finally said, it's time to own up. It's time to make a difference. How do you make a difference? It's time for you to go and take that lamb and slaughter it. As I mentioned last week, take that God and slaughter it. You've got to do something. You've got to be active. And that's actually how it is whenever it comes to any of our goals. I could tell you, in addition to my chocolate chip passion, when it comes to dieting, when I'm exercising, I don't want to touch the chocolate chips. When I'm not exercising, that's where it starts calling my name. What's the difference? When I'm exercising, I'm doing. When I set myself a goal, it's not enough to keep it crystallized here. You actually have to actualize it. And that, answers Reb Chaim Shmuel Levitz, is the difference between the proverbial men and the boys. You want to stay the same, you want to get inspired, but not really work on it. So just feel the inspiration, it's going to fade away. It's when you have that moment of inspiration, take it, make a resolution, and act on it. It's the action which actually makes us great.